December of 2013. So I'm thinking, it feels like we're getting ready for 2014. We'll have some really interesting dynamics that we've let go of a lot of us have, of patterns. And what I was reading last night was saying how the collective is really going to be waking up to the new higher vibration dimension that the earth is moving to. She's moving whether we want to or not. So in order for us to, right?
Well, we and she are part of the same energy, so.
Right, but it kind of sounded like it might be a little bit of a rocky road in 2014, but on the other hand, it could not be. It could be with ease and grace. And I'm kind of wondering what because, karma, I remember talking about karma.
What's available to us is way more. Yeah. What's going to be available to us is way more of our higher self. That self that is connected to who we really are, the perfection, the wholeness. We step down who we are so much coming here. We're kind of even shattered by the experience of coming to this world that is difficult. It is difficult for us to express ourselves into this physical realm. One, because we're not physical beings, and two, and maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 as well, because there's a lot of negativity here. And a lot of it has been dissolved, but it's still pretty much an issue for us to understand that we're living in a world of so much negativity, and so much of that negativity is judgment. And judgment on the very basic issue is our sense of separation from each other. Mm-hmm. The way that we have divided ourselves up into and been shattered and identifying with certain aspects and not with others. So that identification with smaller pieces, like what emotions are right to have, not just express, but to have. Yeah. What thoughts are right to have, what understandings, what way to walk. Those things make us very small, and we have a lot of them. Mm-hmm. Ritual and expectation, the different parameters of culture are terribly limiting. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very tiny for us to fit into. And we can tell because when we come across another culture, oftentimes we're rather taken aback by something different, small often, but different. Mm-hmm. in the way people are in another culture. And that lets us know right away that we're talking about boxes. Mm-hmm. We're talking about little territories that, because they're different in different cultures, we'll have a reaction to them. Mm-hmm. It's just the thought of men wearing dresses. There's a big territory made very small. Okay. Mm-hmm. Women can wear pants.
Mm-hmm. Well, it took us a while though. It didn't happen overnight.
Oh, no kidding. And that's another thing about this judgment, is that it's very current. It changes with our mood. It swings with the times. That fashion and political correctness are always maneuvering us into different attitudes, and they say politics make strange bedfellows. Well, we're always changing our dance partners when we're in judgment. And I like what you said about discernment. I think that that's a really good point, is discernment. And to talk a little about discernment, about what it really is, it's when we have those judgments, okay, mm-hmm. we look at them and we can say, is this really true? Because we're going to have judgments. Mm-hmm. It's how we're made. The human mind is set up to winnow out experience and to follow pre-laid roots of thought and expectation. It keeps us safe. Mm-hmm. When we have huge amounts of data coming at us all the time. So we have to recognize we're going to have judgment. But how quickly can we get to the place of, oh, is that the truth? Is that the only possibility? How is it that what that other person did or said or thought or created is right or wrong? What's my basic judgment here? And yet, where can I go with that? We have to recognize we're going to go through that process. Faster or slower, it doesn't matter. We're going to go through it to get to a discerning point of view of, okay, well, this is my point of view on it. This is what I see is happening. And the bigger the context of our discernment, the more ably we are able to interact with each other in a very in a nonviolent way. I've used that word, nonviolent.
And also,
but even beyond that, sorry, you go ahead, Catherine.
Well, I was just thinking that I think a lot of us are starting to figure out is that we have a lot more choices than we thought. And by having that realization, and I guess it feels like to me is when you can let go of believing there is only one right way, one wrong way for everything in life, when you become more fluid, because I remember years ago, being fluid was called being wishy-washy. Being fluid was like, oh, that person doesn't know. I mean, we even had posters about it. If you don't know where you stand or something, you'll fall for anything. So in other words, make your mind up when you're young, know what you want, know who you are, know what you value, and stick to that, and you'll be all right. Well, in my case, for sure, I recognize what I thought when I was 9, when I thought when I was 15, when I thought when I was 20, 30, it's not the same as what I think now. It's not. And it doesn't mean I'm wishy-washy. It means I've expanded. And it means I have a bigger point of view. And I'm able, I think in some ways maybe I always had, but I certainly wasn't able to always express it. And whereas now I feel that freedom to actually express. Like you said, freedom's important to me too. And I think it is to a lot of people. And I think as we see some of the third dimensional structures sort of closing the cage on us, we've been feeling that for the last, maybe 20, 30 years. We've really been feeling more of that box, more messages from media. If you don't look just like this, you gotta, you're an outcast. Well, we're not. A lot of us are just not going there. And I'm thinking that 2014, I keep seeing this image of like a breakthrough, like 2014, glass ceilings shattered everywhere for everybody, like unlimited, like truly it happened. We actually will walk into that. I don't know. It just feels like that to me, walking into a new paradigm if we want to.
Yes.
Which, of course, is another part of discernment. We can choose.
Well, and that's the thing, is we can choose how we are with things. And the more that we recognize how everyone has a different reality, and that everyone's reality is based on some coherence within that person. There's reasons for how they are. And as we feel empowered to be safe in our world by our own actions and our own interaction with the law of attraction, for one thing, as we recognize that no one has power over us except if we choose. I mean, really getting that, not just as a nice thing to say, but the truth of how that works as we create our own reality. We can have a lot more openness to many more possibilities. And we can recognize that we're all here to explore a different part of reality. When we stop thinking we're all here to be matched pieces in a game of checkers or something, we're really limited. Who wants to be a red or a black checker? So when we get to the point that at least we can be the different pieces in a chess game, and even beyond that, no game at all, perhaps, just having an openness to what wants to happen through divinity into this world, that we're all part of a oneness that's here to explore the entirety, and we can't each of us do it separately. We've come here in many bodies and many minds to explore reality, each in our own individual way. That's the miracle of what is going on here.
You know, I have this visual, sorry, Debbi, I have this visual when you said that, all the chess pieces just running off the board, moving any way they want to, just out into the, totally, no, you don't have to have 2 steps over and 1 out back and all the rest. Everybody goes their own way and everybody was equal. Wow. I just have this huge visual of all of them becoming animated and just jumping off the board. Oh my gosh, you mean I can go to the kitchen? I can go in the woods. I can do anything. I can travel.
Oh, I'm going to go play Clue then. Is that it?
Whatever, right?
Yes, exactly. But we have to be self-aware, and that this is how we do it. When you, like you say, you move from judgment to discernment, and then from that place of discernment, we can choose from a very much widened number of choices, and we can understand people. I mean, isn't that maturity, being able to understand people in their myriad differences, and to, you know, and we're very lucky here in Canada. I mean, we live in a country that embraces multiculturalism. However poorly or well we do that, no comment. But the fact that we have an ethic in our very government to do that is such a gift, because in that way we can widen choices immensely. I mean, you know, just the choices in food is amazing.
I know. I think that's one of the things, like my sense about Canada and multiculturalism, I think we have done a pretty good job of evolving to the point where we're not just tolerating each other, we're embracing. I mean, there are women, Canadian women who, you know, from European backgrounds, who love saris. I mean, there's a dress that I love them. I love the materials and the way they look on them, very feminine. I love that. Someday I'm going to have one, because I think it's just so, they're so comfortable and so awesome. I mean, I used to, when I taught preschool, I had a lot of women, moms that came in to help, you know, on their day. And they were from these various communities that wore the saris. And one day, because it looked so complicated, I thought, how in the heck would you ever get dressed? So because we crossed that barrier, and she was in my class and I was teaching her children, we had a relationship that I could actually say to her, you know, so what's the deal? How does that work? How do you do it? Do you make your own? Blah, blah, blah. And she explained it. She, you know, showed me how it was. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so comfortable looking and awesome. Yeah. So to me, that's where we cross that barrier.
We do. And that's exactly how we learn to look at, you know, if we have 2 choices, if we have, you know, a trouser suit and a sari, we can go on to 3, 4, 5, and 10 choices so much more easily.
Right.
And that's where we start, you know, we talk about multiculturalism and multi omni understanding. I like that. Then there's a place that, and I think this is the place that's really important. This is the layer that is the most important. This is the most freeing layer. And that is when we go beyond the place of saying, okay, well, that's my button. That's who I am. I'm reacting. How do I respond in a non-reactive way? When we get to the layer is, how did I create this? That's when we're really accessing the truth about our world.
We are creating an exquisite world. Until next time, take care.